Hi, I'm Lauren from The Mineral Body, and today we're just going to be talking about the art of biochemistry. So, what is the biochemic theory? How does the biochemic theory apply to biologicals? Basically, what is the aim of biochemistry? What is it looking at doing? How does it work? So, how does biochemistry work, really? The art of biochemistry is the art of balancing the base chemistry of the living cells, the smallest components, but also the most vital to the expression of health. The cells form everything, and it is via their intelligence that any bodily processes even occur. We know that somewhere between 60 billion to 84 billion cells are born and die every single day that we are alive here. Some estimate 1 million cells a second, born and die. But what influences this number? And did you know that these ratios are not fixed? It is possible to get into a state where the cell die-off is becoming greater than the cell recreation rate. So ponder that for a minute, and you can see how quickly someone can begin to decline if caught in this state. This is also hitting on the topic of chronic disorders, of syndromes, the unexplainables. They may have buzzword names, yet the doctor seems to squirm if you press him for more info. These kind of conditions. This is the kind of area that biochemistry really shines in. This is what it's made to address. So again, what influences the rate of cellular regeneration? Well, two things really. The most obvious being the environmental pollution that the cells are exposed to. Stress being the most common, pseudofoods, chemical additives, pesticides in the commercial foods, GMO and hormone-corrupted meat products, the intriguing water treatment choices, the plastics, the metals, you know the story. Everything has been made so convenient that we forgot to notice we turned everything into poison. Or more realistically, we just didn't want to really look. But I digress. So yes, apart from the unfortunate fact, convenience has poisoned everything the light touches, the second contributor to biological regeneration is the host metabolism. So the base metabolism of you, the organism. So what influences metabolism? The thyroid is chief here, amongst the glands of the endocrine system. And if you do a quick search of the thyroid, you'll find it's shield-like in shape. So it's this shield-like gland that sits in the throat there, and you'll find biologically it performs a shield-like function. It's hugely involved in both the adaptive and the innate immune response of the body. I just think that's so magical. You see that all throughout nature. The forms reflect the purpose. It's magical, incredible. The intelligence of nature just blows my mind. Anyway, so the thyroid, shield-like in structure, shield-like in its role for biology. So it has a vital role to play in the adaptive, the innate immune function, and there is a reason that iodine is given as a radiation protection measure, and that is to stimulate and nourish the thyroid so that it can create thyroid hormones like thyroxine, so that it can continue to perform this function, that of defense against free radicals and toxins. I'll get to metabolism in a second, but just meditate on the few statements I've already made for a minute. So the toxin-laden environments, the role of the thyroid in metabolism, and defense against toxins. So, humans have thoroughly saturated their environment with toxins. This is constantly engaging the thyroid in its defensive role. Now, if we were all controlling our food sources, we could grow enough fresh foods to provide the minerals to allow this level of function to continue, and also drastically reduce the toxin intake. But many aren't in the position to do this, to control their own food sources. So, this is where the biochemic minerals can come in and provide the exact chemicals needed to sustain whatever biological functions you are struggling with. Should that be blood building, toxin shedding, lymphatic cleansing, nervous regulation, endocrine balancing. You name it. If it's biological, the minerals are involved, for they are the basis of our biological parts. So, onto metabolism. The thyroid, working with the rest of the endocrine system, is a chief decider in our metabolic function. The rate at which new cells are made, nutrients are uptaken, and waste is excreted. This process is completely dependent on the chemical state of the human battery. Is there enough sodium and potassium to generate a charge? Enough magnesium for the cells to expend energy? Does the cell membrane have enough calcium to be permeable enough to take in nutrients efficiently? Is the system sufficiently hydrated to move the nutrients, the matter, where it needs to with ease? These are all biochemic questions, and these are all parameters that will influence metabolism. The amount of blood the organism has on hand to work with is also a big impactor. Blood cells are the means by which we transport metabolic substances around the body. A healthy organism is full of fresh and healthy blood. His ratio of cell creation to programmed cell death, apoptosis, is in a healthy range. This allows for a robust immune system, resistance to seasonal flus or detox events, and a swift recovery from illnesses. This is why, very often when a patient first comes to me, we will commence a blood-building and general strengthening remedy. Often, no matter the main aim of consultation, first we will have to spend some time building up the fundamentals. As if we were to jump straight in and just start stimulating the thyroid, we would be forcing a metabolic uptick. This would be putting strain on a system which is already obviously strained. It is akin to flicking a switch in a factory that suddenly demands each worker work at twice the speed. This is asking for trouble. Keep this rate up, and we will have errors, we will have burnout. This is asking for a detox event or an adrenal crash. Every great invention we have ever made has been in nature's image. Now, nature knows best, and her intelligence is a constant source of study and admiration for us humans. She shows us and teaches us new things every day. One lesson that is consistent is, nothing happens for no reason. Nature does nothing it does not need to, and all functions serve a purpose. Translating this to the body, a function will continue as perfect function until the resources needed to perform this function are no longer there. At this point, imperfect function will result. The body has safety measures for this. So the adaptive immune system will encapsulate toxins in cysts and temporary masses while it lacks the minerals to move them. If this state continues or deficiencies worsen, that is where diseases can begin to manifest. But all that is required to undo this process is to supply the exact minerals needed to re-engage that function. The second the body senses it has the minerals on hand to do so, signals assent. The entirety of the body intelligence is one system. Immediately, the thyroid sends the message, we can begin making repairs, we can engage the functions that were atrophied and start to initiate the healing. This is no different to noticing the color change on your favorite pot plant, seeing the slight wilt showing you that she wants water, or the color change in hues indicating her hunger for iron, phosphorus, or calcium. The terrain dictates what grows here. This is a constant and observable thing, a testable and feelable phenomenon. Nourish and love yourself for a week straight. Then sit and feel how your mind and body feels. Throw a week-long bender. Ignore your base needs for the sake of quick pleasures and repeat this test. You know the answer already. The question was simple. Perhaps this is why it is still being debated. So often we cannot see the forest for the trees, and it is these simple knowings that get overlooked. The simplest concepts are the hardest to grasp. Basically, to sum it up, biochemistry works by acknowledging that your body intelligence knows best. The capacity to regenerate new cells more perfectly absolutely does exist. All I require is your engagement in this process. The tissues and symptoms are direct messages from the body about the state of the cells thereof. Any change in color, hue, texture, oils produced or not produced, rashes that flake or don't flake, all of these are completely specific to the minerals that dictate those qualities in the tissues. Never will I see open pores without there being the involvement of sodium and chlorine. Never will we feel heat and throbbing prolonged in a system with adequate iron. And never will we have the atrophy of organs if we provide the sulfurs for the liver and bile to prevent the backlogs and condition the flesh and tissues with calciums, fluoride, and silica. And no, this process will not happen overnight. bar the acute cases. In acute cases, we can absolutely remedy things overnight, extremely quickly with biochemistry. But the chronic cases, they will take time. Expect roughly for every year the chronic ailment, chronic deficiency, has been an issue, likely 1 month of supplementation will be needed. Just a rough general guide. So begin supplying the deficient minerals, and instantly the basic ability for cell recreation begins to increase. Slowly at first, most slowly at first, but this begins to build up. So attention goes to where it is needed most. Likely this is deeply internal, focused on the main organs and body systems, and nothing topical will be seen for a little while, dependent entirely on the situation we are addressing. But regardless of the situation, improvements are being made. Efficiency is improving, hydration increasing, oxygen levels rising, bone marrow becoming denser. As we begin nourishing the blood and the bone, the basis, we start shifting the ratios of death and rebirth, of cell creation versus cell destruction. Keep this up for a little while, and the day the ratio swings into the positive, we have a huge shift in things. Now we are creating more healthy cells than are dying off each day. Now the body can begin looking to areas that were made somewhat imperfectly due to imperfect ingredients in their formation, and now we can rebuild these areas more perfectly. Ever seen an actor go through a role that demands they become unhealthy? Notice how well they bounce back in the months after? Or watched a survival series and seen somebody age 10 years in a matter of months? This is due only to malnutrition, only to this ratio of recreation versus cell death. Both of these are more acute examples, of course, but that also makes them very good case studies. Again, just spend some time imagining the power of billions of cells working together and improving by as little as 1% each day, or even less. When you times this by billions, this really adds up very quickly. After a few months of building bone density, which, as a byproduct, increases both red and white blood cell count, the blood is formed in the bone marrow, the bones are the basis. Now we have billions more individual cells to bring nutrients to the billions of other specialized cells. Now the efficiency of everything is working faster, smoother, and any interruptions to this flow are sorted out much quicker, without even interrupting normal functions. This is how someone can be around a group during seasonal flu times, like myself, and be completely unaffected by the so-called contagions. I am unafraid, as I know my bones are dense and my glands are strong. Biochemistry is a life choice. It is making the choice to honor the cells that you are made of, and ensuring the billions of selves that you are, that dictate how you feel, what you crave, and how you think, are nourished and cared for. That's another thing I should quickly mention. Each biochemic mineral has specific psychological tells too. Get low on the fluid balance mineral, and your persona becomes dry and brittle, quick to react and intolerant to stimulus. Get low on the acid balancer, and your behaviors will be more caustic and biting, nastiness and acidity showing up in the behaviors. Lack of elasticity in tissues also lowers your emotional flexibility and affects the memory, slows the mind. And there is no thought without phosphor, mineral number 5, potassium phosphate, the basis for the grey matter of the brain, and it is also a massive factor in all brain health and any and all mental afflictions, from anxiety, despondency to just outright insanity. Biochemistry is the art of finally seeing the smallest parts of you and nourishing them. From there, we can begin to see the real you come back out into the light of day. Stronger, fitter, healthier, and more robust in ways you forgot you could be. Honestly, most people by the time they leave high school are already under the influence of deficiencies, purely stress-induced. Imagine what you could be if we just boosted the efficiency of the billions of cells that you are made of by even just 1%. But I warn you, as improvement is addictive, and as the mental faculties improve, so does motivation and willpower. So this percentage is likely to keep increasing. So I thank you for listening, and I hope that this has simplified the aim of the biochemic theory. Please visit the website for more information. I've tried to make it as information-rich as possible. There's dosage information, self-diagnostic information, as well as further reading on all of the minerals. And keep your eyes on this channel as well. We're partway through a deep dive series on all 12 minerals. If you'd like to purchase minerals, books, creams, or book a consult with me, just email me at lauren@themineralbody.com. Biochemic analysis can be done via distance. Images and a case history is all that is required. We can work out times for communication, and that way, no matter where you are on the planet, if you need help with your cells or figuring out a difficult condition, I or another biochemist like me can be of assistance. Simply by nourishing and bolstering the areas that we see evidence of disharmony of. As these minerals are what you are made of, they will not interfere with other medications or your diet, making this form of therapy one of the most gentle, safe, and natural forms that I can think of. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.